And this is my granddaddy, Mr. Leroy Hicks. Granddaddy, tell us when you were born and where you were born.
I was born January the 6th, 1914, rural route, Martin, Tennessee.
You were born at home?
At home. At home. Not out behind the house.
Well, that's interesting. And what were your parents' names?
My parents' name was William Robert Hicks and Elizabeth Alice Hicks.
And do you know when they were born?
No. Right offhand, I can't tell you. But they was born in the 1880s.
In the 1880s? Okay. And tell me all the names of all your brothers and sisters.
My older sister's name is Alba. My next coming down the line was Lyra, Loretta, and Onez. There was 4 boys and 5 girls. All but the girls are older. Then beginning with Harvey and Finis, Henry, Wayne, and Hoyt, myself. That gets us Hicks family. And we have 3 children, which is Linda K. Hicks Venable, Donna Marie Hicks Kane, and Robert Morris Hicks.
Okay. And
They have Linda K. has 3 children. 4 children, sorry about that. And Morris has 2. Donna has no children.
okay. Well, do you know your grandparents' names?
My grandparents, I know was John. I believe my daddy's daddy was John Hicks, and I do not know her name.
Okay.
No, not my.
What's your mother?
Not my mother's mother. Yeah, my mother's mother was a Hemby, and she came from Missouri, but I do not know the names.
Okay. And you were born in Hinesville community?
Hinesville community.
And then at what point did y'all move to Gardner?
We moved to Gardner in 1921.
And you were how old?
I started school, 6 years old, with Gardner. Finished my schooling at Martin High School. And then I went on later years in Detroit, Michigan, and worked until I went in the Army in 1941. Came out of the Army in 1945 in October. In the meantime, during our war career, I was married to Annabeth Morris. And we moved back to Martin, and we've been here ever since.
Okay, well, let's meet Annabeth Morris.
Hello.
This is my grandmother, Annabeth Morris Hicks. Well, tell us when and where you were born.
I was born just over the line in Obion County, just over the Weakley County line, at home. And my mother was Grace Board. And my daddy was Benjamin Franklin Morris.
Okay, and what's your date of birth?
September the 14th, 1914. And I had 1 brother. He was killed in a gravel pit cave-in 1931.
And what was his name?
Robert Stephen.
Robert Stephen.
Morris.
Yeah, Morris.
And
we was in the country when I was born, and then we moved just a few miles into a little village of Terrell, and we lived there till I was 16. And during that time, I was 16 when my brother got killed. And then we moved to McKenzie, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
And we stayed there for about 18 months and moved back to St. Charles Street in Martin in September 1933.
And you've been on St. Charles Street just about ever since?
Yeah. All except about 4 years during the war when I was with Hoyt in the Army. And we married in 1942 when he was in the Army. And we lived in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we went from there to Little Rock, Arkansas. We went from there to Pineville, Louisiana. Our first baby was born, which was Little Kay Hicks in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1944.
Okay. Tell me a little about your mother and father. What did they do what did your father do for a living?
He was a real estate man.
Oh, really? I never knew
So
that.
real estate.
And do you know his date of birth?
Now, right off, do you know? Hold it a minute.
Okay. Okay, right now you don't know your daddy's date of birth. But
He died in 1955
1955
in November.
in November.
And my mother died in 1974 in August.
Uh-huh. And your mother was a housewife.
Yeah. And but when she was younger, before she married, she was a teacher.
Uh-huh.
She taught down in Obion County near Stanley Chapel. There was a schoolhouse there. That's where the airport is now.
Oh. I see.
Is it a sticker in there?
And your daddy worked in real estate as long as you can remember?
Yes.
Well, when I was younger, he was overseer of a big pickard
He was
farm
a farmer
in Carroll.
at one time.
Mm-hmm. What about your grandparents? You remember anything about your grandparents?
My mother's daddy was in the Civil War.
Pine shop.
Move, Jared.
Jared.
And I believe he was a farmer.
Uh-huh.
And I guess her mother was a housewife.
Uh-huh.
And they had, let's see, Mama's brothers, she had 4. One of them died as a baby, and one was grown, I think. I never knew him. The other one was Charlie and Wright Board.
Uh-huh.
And she had, her sisters was Bess and Mary and Blanche.
Mm-hmm.
And including her, 4 girls. And every girl had a different color hair.
Oh, really?
Her hair was brown. She had a red-headed
It
sister,
works
and a
now.
blonde-headed sister, and a
works
black-headed sister.
My goodness.
And Mary's hair was curly.
Huh.
Traveling trailer.
Well, that's...
No, don't get such as that in there. Holly. That's not true.
Well, that's interesting. Anything else or any other family members you want to tell me about?